As a result of all this, we can consider the phenomenal world, or nature, and music as two different expressions of the same thing, which is therefore the only medium of the analogy that connects them, a knowledge of which is required if we are to understand that analogy. Accordingly, music, if it is regarded as an expression of the world, is in the highest degree a universal language that is even related to the universality of concepts, much as those concepts are related to particular things. Yet its universality is by no means the empty universality of abstraction, but is of a quite different kind, connected with thorough and clear distinctness. In this respect, it is like geometrical figures and numbers, which are the universal forms of all possible objects of experience, a priori applicable to them all, and yet are not abstract, but perceptible and thoroughly definite. All possible efforts, stirrings, and expressions of the will, all the events that occur within man himself and are included by the faculty of reason in the wide negative concept of feeling, can be expressed by the infinite number of possible melodies, but always in the universality of mere form without the material, always only according to the in itself, not according to the phenomenon, as we might say, the innermost soul of the phenomenon without the body. The close relation between music and the true nature of all things can also explain the fact that when music suitable to any scene, action, event, or environment is played, it seems to disclose us its most secret meaning, and appears to be the most accurate and distinct commentary upon it. Moreover, to anyone who abandons himself entirely to the impression of a symphony, it is as if he can see all the possible events of life and of the world passing by within himself. Yet if he reflects, he cannot assert any likeness between that piece of music and the things that pass through his mind. For as we have said, music differs from all the other arts in that it is not a copy of the phenomenon, or, more exactly, of the will's adequate objectivity, but is directly a copy of the will itself, and therefore expresses the metaphysical to everything physical in the world, the thing in itself to every phenomenon. Accordingly, we might just as well call the world-embodied music as embodied will. For this reason, music makes every painting, indeed every scene from real life and from the world at once appear in enhanced significance. And this is of course all the greater, the more analogous its melody is to the inner spirit of the given phenomenon. It is because of this that we are able to set a poem to music as a song, or a perceptive representation as a pantomime, or both as an opera. Such individual pictures of human life, set to the universal language of music, are never bound to it, never correspond to it with absolute necessity, but relate to it only as an example relates to a universal concept. In the distinctness of reality, they represent what music asserts in the universality of mere form. For to a certain extent, melodies are, like universal concepts, an abstraction from reality. This reality, and hence the world of individual things, furnishes what is perceptive, special and individual, the particular case, both to the universality of the concepts and to that of melodies. These two universalities, however, are in certain respect opposed to each other, since the concepts contain only the forms. First of all, abstracted from perception, we might say the stripped-off outer shell of things, hence they are quite properly abstracta. Music, on the other hand, provides the innermost kernel preceding all form, or the heart of things. This relation could very well be expressed in the language of the scholastics by saying that the concepts are the universalia post rem, but music gives the universalia ante rem, and reality the universalia in re. But that in general a relation between a composition and a perceptive representation is possible is due, as we have said, to the fact that the two are simply quite different expressions of the same inner nature of the world. If now, in the particular case, such a relation actually exists, thus when the composer has known how to express in the universal language of music the stirrings of will that constitute the kernel of an event, then the melody of the song, the music of the opera, is expressive. But the analogy discovered by the composer between the two must have come from the immediate knowledge of the inner nature of the world, unknown to his faculty of reason. It cannot be an imitation brought about with conscious intention by means of concepts. Otherwise the music does not express the inner essence, the will itself, but merely provides an inadequate imitation of its phenomenon inadequately. All really imitative music does this.